Welcome to Module 3 of the Design Thinking Crash Course. Today, we're going to talk about the define and ideate steps of the design thinking framework. And as you can see here, it's really important to make sure that you have defined the problem with that empathy piece in mind. It's also really important that you start to ideate and come up with ideas where your second or third idea are not going to be the best. So let's break this down. Defining the problem is easy. We're really great at finding problems with things. There's no shortage of problems. The challenge is the empathy lens that you employ and the way that you use the activities in the previous module to really develop a strong sense of empathy in maybe yourself, but for sure your students, will help you start to shift how you start to define problems. And maybe let's take a problematic student. The student has no self-control. The student doesn't listen to directions. As you start to empathize and you start to figure out who this person, this student, this young child is, you realize, wow, there are 10 different factors that are resulting in the way in which the student is acting, responding, and behaving. And if I come from that angle, I am better able to help the student because the problem has shifted. We start to define the problem differently. And that's going to allow us to start to ideate and come up with more ideas. And there's no such thing as a bad idea. One of my favorite activities that you'll see below in the module is the Bad Idea Factory. And this experience has been created and evolved in a number of spaces. Stanford and IDEO and a lot of these incredible, innovative programs and organizations have taken the idea of the Bad Factory to new heights. And the reason it's called the Bad Idea Factory is because you put up a bias and a prejudice on your own ideas. You are nervous of being judged, and you are worried that your ideas will be perceived as poor in quality or not thoughtful enough. And so what you do is you just say, any idea, let's actually find bad ideas. Like coming up with a wall of flames to be the wall around a building, or to come up with a really amazing way to clean the floor would be to create a suit that the baby would wear and crawl around to clean the floor. There's actually a incredible movement. I think it's almost to the point of being part of the Japanese culture. It's called Shindagu, and it is this method of inventing and creating where the end result are ridiculous items that are meant to have no functional use, but at the same time are so novel. In, let's say, that baby outfit, for example. Another one is the umbrella that instead of keeping you dry by repelling the water, it's actually inversed, and it actually collects the water so you can use that water later, but still keeping you dry. So the point of the activity and the point of this whole ideation phase is that when you come up with 50 different ideas, different potential solutions for a challenge, you then have the opportunity to connect those ideas together, pull apart different qualities from each solution to come up with something that's altogether better and in many times much more novel and innovative. I think that is what inspires me so much when I think about and I employ the design thinking process, is that the way that I define problems is not from my vantage point, not from my perception, and even not from my experience. I look at all of the stakeholders involved in that community and then try to identify what challenges and what problems need to be solved. But it's that ideation phase that I find students struggling with, but then becoming so much more resilient because they understand that the first is not always the best. In fact, it's almost never the best. But sometimes there is that kernel, that spark of something in that initial idea that when you connect with the next 10 or 20 different ideas, you come together and create something that's altogether so much higher in quality to support the people that are in need. So enjoy this module and enjoy the activities, and make sure to engage in the Facebook group. The purpose of this course is less about connecting with me and my knowledge, and more about how the ideas that I am sharing with you and the calls to action that I am hopefully empowering you with will lead to you building a community in that Facebook group on the Participate platform. Because at the end of the day, your ability to connect with schools and with educators all around the world is what is really going to create a powerful opportunity for you to take after you've tried, tested, and proven to yourself that the design thinking model is a powerful method in your classroom. How can you bridge it out to then connect cultures and communities together throughout the world?